Hello, and today I'm going to play around with the modular. I'm going to show you how to make some sounds, and we're going to spend some time trying out some different patches on the modular. I'm going to start off first by setting it up with the analog 4. That's what I use to send pitch and gate. So I have a bunch of gray cables that come out of the analog 4 sending out CV pitch and CV gate, and I don't have these labeled, so it's going to take some guesswork. Let's get started. Very nice. So this one is carrying pitch CV right here. And so the other ones, there's a second one that's going to carry pitch as well. So let's get that set up. This second module here is the second oscillator. It has an octave switch. Okay, let's see if we get lucky. Nope, that's not it. That's going to be a gate. Sorry, a trigger. Or a gate, or whatever you want to call it. And I think that's it. Alright, let's see if they're in tune though. Yeah, I would say that's pretty good. Okay. Let's set up a quick tuning test with the analog 4. So I'm just going to turn these down. This is the mixer module here. So you have sound coming in, just raw sound coming in from both oscillators. So that's how I'm starting off. Alright, over to the analog 4 now. Okay, there we go. That feels like they're pretty in tune and they hold their tuning. The way that I learned how to tune the modular oscillators using both the oscillator and then the analog 4 is that you start off first by tuning the oscillator to a bass pitch, and then this is what you do. You go to the analog 4. I'm going to have to get away from the microphone now. But essentially, you go to the CV page, hit Function, CVA, and then voltage 1 is the baseline, and you've set that by tuning the oscillator. The Z3000 is great because it has a display And then note 2, so you set note 1 as whatever your baseline note is, and then note 2 you set that as an octave above. And then you essentially tune that so that then it matches, because initially it's going to be off. Let me show you. If I put this at, technically this should be at 1 volt. So let's just tune it, put it back to 1 volt. Okay, so we're going to start off here. Right, that's C3. Then if I go up an octave, that's off, right? So then what you do, there you go, see? You then detune it, or rather tune it. In my case, I have to go under 1 volt. And then I have my display on the Z3000 set up so that whenever it hits the right pitch, it'll tell me that it's hit that note. And that's what we're doing right now. And there we are, almost. There we go. So now we have an octave that is musically as in tune as I would like it to be. And that's how you tune it. So it's, it's imperfect, and that's the beauty in a way of using voltages. This isn't MIDI. You're using voltages, so you do have to do a little bit of legwork initially to get everything set up, but the payoff is massive, as you're going to see. So now that we have that set up, let's get started patching the modular. Let's get both of our trigger cables in place. Here we have the IntelliGel Quadra, which is 4 envelopes. And in order to function, you need voltages to trigger the envelopes, so that every time I hit a key, then the envelope gets triggered and it does its thing. And what does it do? Well, let's see. Instead of going into the mixer directly, I'm going to go into this module here, the Make Noise Mod Demix. And this isn't the latest version. The latest version has slightly different artwork, but I think it's pretty much the same. So we have one oscillator going into here. Let's use different colored cables for the different oscillators. I think that's much more sensible. So we'll have the ear wave oscillator go into this slot here, and then we'll have, I think we're going to go for a black cable. Scratch that, let's make it an orange cable. So from the and since I'm using, let's see, I'm using square wave, it's in French, square wave from the ear wave oscillator, the Titan. I'm going to use triangle wave from the Z3000. It's going to go here. You can see that already stuff is happening. We are in business. Okay. And now we can send the envelope signal to the VCA. This is a dual VCA. That's what it is. And then envelope 2. So let's see what that gives us. Now we're going to send the outputs. So this is the Earwave Titan going into here. And the Z3000 going to its rightful first place. And we don't have any sound because I need to play the keyboard now. There we go. We have a sound with some envelope action happening, which is exactly what we want. Of course, this is monophonic. I can only play one note at a time. So what else can we do? Well, there's a few more things, although I do like this sound already. First of all, let me balance out the sound. So instead of let's see. That's the now I'm just hearing the Earwave Titan. And that's the Z3000. So we have a couple of options. We could use this module to sum the sounds and then put it into the filter, or I believe that the filter has 2 inputs, so I think we're going to do that. Okay, now this is, I believe, a state variable filter, which means that it does low pass, band pass, high pass, and notch, with a control for the notch that basically places the notch filter within the spectrum. All right, so now the Z3000 is going into here, and this is the Earwave Titan. And then the output, let's grab an output, low pass output. Put it into here. I'm going to turn this down. Okay, I'm going to set the frequency like this, the filter like this, so that it's not affecting the signal too much. It's probably affecting it a little bit, but this is as close as we get to a clean sound. Yep, that works. Okay, so that's turned up. Oh yeah, let's see if this works. Right, so we have... Okay, here we go. So... let's turn it up now. Lovely sounding filter. Okay, we have the filter. We could use also an envelope to control the filter. That's what we're going to do next. I'm going to use one of these handy tip-top audio stackables cables, because basically it's sort of bringing the functionality of banana cables to Eurorack, which is awesome. Essentially, that allows me to duplicate the signal, that signal, without needing to use a special module for that. Now we're going to put the I'm going to use envelope 3 for the filter, and we plonk it right over here in the CV input. I'm going to leave it like that for now. Okay, I'm going to go back to leaving the filter out of it as much as possible, because actually I want to play with the envelopes, the amplifier envelopes affecting both oscillators. I'd like one oscillator maybe to come in a little bit later. So I think I'm going to have the triangle wave kind of come in or go on for longer, have a longer decay. I'm using the octave switch. I'm going to see if what the sawtooth wave sounds like on the Titan. That sounds quite nice. Okay, there we go. That's a pretty usable sound right there. Let's start using the filter a little bit. So this third envelope is controlling the filter. That works pretty nicely. Now, here's when things get interesting. If you swap, for example, the control signal and the audio signal with the mod demics, then interesting modulations happen. Let's hear it. Sounds a lot more punchy now. So I'm going to keep it like that. We also have a module. I also have a module here, right here, which is 2 LFOs. So I'm going to use that, routing those LFOs to a couple of different things. Check it out. Increasing the speed of the LFO here. So putting it into the linear FM input, and then increasing the amount changes the pitch of the oscillator, the Z3000. I probably have it set it to. There are lots of different waves. This is, I believe, the wave shapes are digital, so you get a lot of waves. Kind of like a sine wave here. Interesting stuff happens with a sync, actually. Or not. It's a hard sync modulation there. I think I'm going to use that, but I'm going to increase the speed. Maybe change the waveform. maybe not. I don't know. I can also send this to the filter. But currently I don't really have a way of attenuating it so that it isn't as pronounced. Sometimes it's interesting to put it in the resonance, making it self-oscillate. We change the waveform to, I think, a square wave. We can use the LFO to control pulse width modulation. Alright, let's build a sequence and then play around a little more, and then you'll see some of the other possibilities that are available. Now the LFO is, I'm using it to modulate the pitch of the Titan oscillator. Pretty subtly. Titan also has sync inputs, so you can synchronize the waves with incoming waveforms, so I'm going to use that. Hear that there. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to add second output, the bandpass output from the multi-filter to another channel of the mix mode mixer. remove some of that and help me brighten up the sound. And I can invert it. Then I can saturate the signal as well. Very subtle. That sounds pretty good. So there we go. Let me see if I can maybe add some more sounds from the Analog 4 and then do a little bit of a composition with the sound from the modular. So I just lengthened the pattern to 4 bars. I'm going to pick some more sounds. The filter function comes in really useful here. Thank you so much for watching.